and welcome to episode 6 of me playing Kerbal Space Program. I'm just going to, in this, quickly try and return this spaceship, or rocket, or whatever it is, this moonlander. I'm going to see if I can try and return that to the space station, which is orbiting Kerbin. So, this is called Spacer Station. Now, I misnamed it somehow. Anyway, as a bit of preparation, I'm just going to try and transfer the fuel from these radial tanks right into this middle tank, which hopefully will kind of make my weight more central, which should give you more manoeuvrability, really. So, all you do is you right-click on the tank, on one tank, hold down Alt, right-click on another tank, and it brings up the kind of transfer in and out. So you can either do what I did, which is to click out from that tank, or you could click in on the tank you want the fuel to go into. And as long as there's cross-feed enabled on all the parts between them, so with, with decouplers you can, I think, transfer fuel. But, yeah, basically as long as the tanks are kind of in the same vehicle, basically, you can kind of transfer it. So I'm just going to turn Smart Ass off, and I will turn SAS on, and I'll just leave it. Make sure these engines are both on, which they are, and I'm just going to I want to be launching at a 90-degree angle. And right about now, I'll turn Smart Ass on, just because I can. And I'll also turn the lights off just to save a tiny bit of power, even though we have got the sun right above us, so we should be getting quite a bit of solar power from all of that. So I'm just going to quickly zoom into the moon so I can see how my orbit's doing. And because there's no atmosphere, I can basically thrust as much as I want, as quickly as I want. And we should see our orbit grow. So I just want to get this probably to about 10,000, and then I can start kind of trying to push that sideways. So you can see I've just tipped my angle. So I'm now basically thrusting right, perfectly sideways, which should start extending my orbit round. Because there is no atmosphere on the moon. Sorry, I always call them the wrong thing, just ignore me. There's no atmosphere, which means you're not restricted by the atmospheric kind of height. You don't have to be over, I think it's about 65,000 on Kerbin. On the moon you can literally orbit as long as you are not touching the surface. So I think you can do orbits under 5,000 meters, but I'm just going to kind of turn off my engines, and I'll wait until I'm approaching my apoapse, and then I'll just go prograd. Oh, just focused on the moon, and thrust as much as I can, and you can see my orbit's kind of starting to travel around. Sorry, just had someone texting me. So yeah, now you can see my orbit is 14,000 there, 38,000 there. So I'm just going to quickly save it, just because saving's good. And I'm actually going to continue thrusting. No, sorry, I'm going to try and do it properly. I'm going to add a maneuver. And I'm going to zoom out so I can see. I'm going to highlight the Kerbin periap. So I'm going to try and get that as low as I can. So the lowest I seem to get it is about 5 million. Just under 5 maybe? Yeah, we can just get it under 5. Okay, it's a tiny bit more than that. There. So now we want to point towards the node, which is in 1 minute, and it says it'll take 26 minutes, which is 26 seconds, sorry, which seems about right. I always check that just so you know that it's not bodging up the kind of physics. Sometimes it doesn't understand itself and goes a bit silly. So as soon as that says 13 seconds, which I'll just try and like fast forward to. There. Now we'll thrust. And we should be going perfectly. And as soon as I see myself get close to the moon close to this encounter finishing, I'm just going to disable that, get rid of that node, point prograd, and very slowly kind of continue thrusting, purely because it will save me a bit of power. There you go. So that's the smallest kind of orbit I can get. So now I'm just going to time warp until I'm back into an orbit of Kerbin. So I'm going all really slowly. And then at apoaps here, I want to add a maneuver to shrink. Oh, so many things I don't want you. Get rid of you. Okay. So my space station is at 100,000, so I'm going to reduce my to about 100,000, which is just there. Okay, so now point towards the node. And there's no point having that on. We'll just keep fast forwarding. There we go. Oh, we've kind of passed that maneuver, but never mind. So this should only take about 30 seconds, so should have enough fuel. So I think we should have plenty of fuel to get there, because it seems to be only using up about 1 or a bit per second, so yeah, we should be fine. Okay, and I'm also going to add this as a target, and there probably are more efficient ways of doing this in fewer maneuvers and fewer like wastages of fuel, but all I'm going to do is just ever so slowly get that maneuver perfect. So if I put retrograde instead, it just clears up the screen a bit, because that's exactly where I was pointing. And I can just highlight my periaps, make sure that goes exactly where I want it to go, which is at 10,000. Sorry, 100,000, there you go. And actually now, it's just realised I'm about to be pulled into an orbit of the moon, which I don't want. So I'm now being pulled back into the moon. But I really want to be pointing towards Kerbin. So what I'm going to do is point towards Kerbin. And basically point towards the target. And if I thrust towards that, hopefully I'll get out of just going to try and see if I can get this maneuver. Sorry, this intersect as close as possible, because that'd be quite good if I can do it from here. So I'm just using RCS and ever so slowly kind of using that to do very fine maneuvers, and I'll try and get that to about 1.6. It's probably fine. And actually here, at this descending node, is where I'm going to do my next maneuver. So, is that right? Yeah, there's 2.2. So this is the descending node, so I want to be going orbit and normal up. And then I'll fast forward until the descending node without hitting it. And at this descending node, I can then slow down. And I'm just going to go on rendezvous planner, and you can see the exact relative inclination. I'm just going to thrust until it gets as low as possible. Like that. Should be perfect. And now this might be ever so slightly closer. So it's about what it was. Okay, so that's everything at the moment. Now what we have to do is wait till we're at this encounter, which is coming up. I'll do this without smart ass, just because I occasionally like proving I can actually play Kerbal Space Program, and I want to be finding my relative. Where are we going? Oh, smart ass is still trying to work. Turn off. And now we've kind of cocked up slightly. Because we kind of flew past where we were meant to be. So I've now got to kind of try and recover slightly. Although this is very far away. But we can catch up on that. All we'll need to do is kind of have a ever so slightly larger orbit, and then we should be able to kind of do it perfectly. So the only other alternative is we could wait until this maneuver actually, which seems to be perfect. So now I'll wait until that maneuver. And I'll just line myself up. And yeah, I'll leave it. We should have enough fuel just to be able to dock with it. The only problem is that we are going very close. So hopefully we'll be able to. That's in 21 seconds-ish, 20 seconds. Yeah, we should be able to do it. Yeah, that's fine. As long as we're a couple of kilometers away, that's fine. Make sure I'm following the... So I need to make sure I'm following the right kind of direction, and just wait till I get ever so slightly closer. Okay, so now I am going to use SmartAss for docking because I can, and I'm going to type target, and I'll go parallel minus, and I'm going to control from here. I want to be controlling from this docking port, and I want to attach to this, which I've already done. So I'm going to turn on our monoprop. I can just slightly change. I'm also going to use rendezvous planner. Sorry, not rendezvous planner. It's rendezvous planner. And make sure I'm going forwards, so I don't want to go too far away. And all you have to do is kind of ever so slowly kind of fiddle around and get the closest approach as close as you can. So mine says 7 meters now, so that should be more than enough, more than close enough. But I'm only moving very slowly, so we're not going to like whack into it straight away. So we should have a little bit of time. I'm just going to change to chase cam, which gives you like a better view of when you're docking. Basically, it's just much more like accurate for docking. So all I'm going to try and do is steal a little bit of fuel from this ship, so I can refuel this ship, and then potentially I could go out on another flight. So obviously you've got to be checking, making sure that this purple bit is getting as close as you can to that bit, but you've also got to check that you're not going to hit anything. So obviously I'm trying not to hit these two panels, so I'm going to try and avoid them. However, I'm doing this a bit silly. I should be at this angle. Make sure I'm going to... And hopefully... that should have be as docked. Ta-da! Okay, so we've got quite a bit of fuel left in here. So what I'm going to do is hold down Alt again and transfer that fuel up to the top of this, and then I can effectively get rid of this bottom bit. I can just jettison that. So just cancel that. Just re-transfer the fuel. So we've now got a bit more fuel, but we haven't really got enough to do many more. We haven't got enough to do more space missions. So we probably need to kind of send up ships that have fuel, so just like refueling ships basically. But we've now kind of effectively rescued. Now we've got enough fuel to kind of return that to Kerbin. I'm not going to because it's in space, which kind of is useful. The only thing I will do is decouple that. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I always try and make sure that I shut down engines when you're in space. Purely because you kind of it's worth having. So I want to kind of get rid of this, but the thing I've got is that I've disabled debris, which basically means you don't have space debris, which clears your screen a lot, because if you've got lots of little orbits of lots of random parts of spaceships, it's kind of quite unsightly. Anyway, I'm going to finish this episode here. Now I've returned that to safety, and next episode I'm going to be building a space probe, I think, and potentially actually a refueling ship, but you will find out in the next episode. So come and join me then. Hopefully won't be released too long after this. But thank you for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more of them. And thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in another video. Goodbye.